I've been doing conference realignment videos for a while now. I mean, that's what got hot there for a while. It's starting to die down, and now it's time to start focusing on the college football season. And here's the thing, it happens every year. So all of us have this idea of what teams we think are going to be good based on last year and what teams we think are going to be bad based on last year. And then there's these teams that come out of nowhere that nobody expected to be good. Case in point for last year, Michigan State surprised me. So that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. Teams that maybe we're expecting to be good that might turn out to be bad, and teams that maybe we're expecting to be bad, they actually turn out to be good. Welcome to Golden Blue Dude, everybody. I am Golden Blue Dude. This is the live show. I have no schedule. That's why I encourage my viewers and my subscribers to hit the notification, because I don't have a schedule. I fit my live shows whenever I can and wherever I can. So if you are a subscriber of Golden Blue Dude, make sure to hit the notification. That way you know when I go live. And if you're not a subscriber, if you're a college football fan, what are you waiting on? This is the place for you. I promise you will love it. But if you don't, you can always unsubscribe later. If you're not a college football fan, keep on going. This is not the place for you. So this is all about college football. Guys, it's getting closer. It is getting closer. My good friend Jeff Grimm, he's popping in real quick. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, lots of things are happening. What do you think about what's his name from the Pac-12 said about the Big 12, about the ADs and that?
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing from a lot of people, number one, everybody's saying that George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12, and Brett Yormark, who started day one today officially as the new Big 12 commissioner, are actually friends. So a lot of this is tongue-in-cheek, which I get that. And that's probably true to a certain extent. But at some point, you got to look into what they're saying and, kind of put some context into it. And it looks like these two conferences are fighting to survive, straight up survival mode. So, number one, I think they're saying what they're supposed to say. I'm not going to say it's scripted or anything like that, but, they're the commissioner. They're supposed to project positivity and, everything's okay, all that stuff. So I don't know what to read into it, because I don't know how much they're allowed to show right now. Does that make any sense? I don't know how much of their hand they're allowed to show.
Right. But I do kind of find it funny, because if you go back in time 12 months ago, the Big 12 was crying, well, the SEC's calling our people and it's just wrong. And, now the Big 12 is doing the exact same thing to the Pac-12.
And I'm not going to say that's being hypocritical, because everybody does it. Whatever situation you're in, that's how you're going to react. So last year it was the Big 12 that was in the situation of getting picked apart. Their two biggest massive brands, Oklahoma and Texas. And of course, their natural reaction is going to be, they were talking behind our backs. This should be illegal, blah, blah, blah. This hurt the Big 12. I don't know what we're going to do. But whenever it's turned on the other side and they're attacking another conference, of course, then they're like, no big deal. We knew we were going to survive, blah, blah, blah. So it's always in context, and people are going to react the way they're going to react. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is who's taken and who's getting taken.
I do truly believe, though, and I talked about this on a different show in chat today, if a third conference wants to emerge, I truly believe that the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12 need to get together and make it happen. They're going to have to take the best of the teams in each of them and just make a new, call it the Big 12, call it the ACC. I don't know what, who would end up winning, but to me, that's the only way you're going to get a third conference that's relevant.
Yeah, and, that's one of the reasons why I did that video earlier today on, what conference has had the most appearances in the national championship, because I think being relevant is going to play a factor into who survives between the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the ACC. And I was surprised to see just how well the ACC has had a showing in the national championship. I know recently it's been Clemson, but since the BCS, which started in 1998, 25 years ago, The ACC has the second most appearances if you include Miami and Virginia Tech, who's now in the ACC. Even if you don't include that, they still have the second most. So yeah, I was surprised. Maybe we're not giving the ACC enough credit. Maybe they are going to survive. Maybe they're better off than what we think. Maybe they're just showing what they can show, and things behind closed doors are not going the way we think they're going.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC would be fine. The problem with the ACC, though, is that TV contract is just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem right there. John Swofford was a terrible conference commissioner. And if you really think about it, he screwed the teams in two ways. Number one, they don't make a lot of money. Number two, the grant of rights basically has them locked in. Like, it is unbelievable how much the deck is stacked against the teams in the ACC whenever it comes to that TV contract.
Right. And I mean, in a way, he thought it was good. Well, we'll make it really super long because we just lost Maryland and we lost Rutgers. So we don't want to lose any,
Yeah.
But the problem is he signed such a bad TV contract. And I don't think anybody, I don't even think the Big Ten with the money they're looking at, or the SEC with the money we're looking at, we're not going to sign a 15-year deal.
Right.
Because every 5 to 10 years, the money just keeps going higher and higher. So why would you lock yourself in for 15 years knowing, yeah, you might be doing good the first 5 years, but after that, you're going to start losing money?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Oregon and Washington are saying they don't want to get into a long-term grant of rights signing. They're good for the short term, maybe a couple years, 3-4 years, something like that. But they don't want to make the same mistake that all the teams in the ACC have made with that grant of rights, which actually some of the teams in the ACC are benefiting from it because it is keeping the conference together. Teams like Boston College, Wake Forest, Syracuse, teams that wouldn't have a landing spot if it does break apart. It's those big brands that are hurting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because what ACC has technically 14 members.
Yep.
And out of them 14 members, there's a good 4 to 6 of them that are really benefiting from the grant of rights.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rest of them, it's not doing them any favors. I mean, the only favor it's doing is at the time it locked everybody in. But now with the grant of rights, it's hard to add teams and it's really hard to get out of it.
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest issue. It's not just like one big issue. There are multiple issues with those grant of rights.
But I could see Oregon, and the past years where they haven't done that much relevancy. I don't see how they can even put that in there where they can get an unequal share. That don't seem fair to me, as bad as they've been.
Well, the reason they can, though, is it's based on what Fox and ESPN value them at.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not what we the fans think. It's what the TV guys think. Thank you, Anthony Zappin, for the $5 donation. Says, let's go Mountaineers. Golden Blue Dude, give me a prediction on Marshall's record this year. I'm glad you said that. That reminds me, anybody that wants to ask me about their team, you want me to do a season prediction, or you have a question for me or a comment, or you want to make fun of me, any of that stuff, all you have to do to get my attention is hit the super chat button. That is that little $sign that you see on your bottom right-hand corner right under the comments. Anything that you put in that super chat, I will put on the screen. We will read it, address it, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. So as we were talking about the ACC, I was writing down the schedule of Marshall. So I'm going to give my quick prediction for the Marshall Thundering Herd for 2022. This is not a troll or anything like that. This is just how I see it. Their schedule is actually very, very interesting. Very interesting. So we have FCS Norfolk State. That's an easy win. On the road to Notre Dame, that's a big loss for Marshall. So that's 1-1 right there. Then they have 2 more road trips back-to-back, at Bowling Green, at Troy. I think they'll win one and they'll lose one. So that's 2-2. FCS Gardner-Webb at home. That's a win. Louisiana at home. That's a win. Louisiana is going to take a step back this year. They lost Bill Napier to Florida, so I expect Louisiana to take a step back. So we're looking at 4-2 right there. I think they go on the road and lose to James Madison. I know James Madison is technically FCS right now, but they're one of the best in the nation. It's going to be on the road. James Madison has one of the best atmospheres in all of FCS. I think that's a loss for Marshall. So we're looking at 4-3 right there. I think they beat Coastal Carolina. I don't think Coastal Carolina is going to be as good as what they were last year. That's 5-3. At Old Dominion, I think that's their upset of the year. So that's what, 5-4. Hold on, 5-4. Yeah, 5-4. Appalachian State at home, they get the win. 6-4. Yeah, 6-4. At Georgia Southern, win 7-4. Lost to Georgia State. Georgia State's going to be pretty good. So I have Marshall going 7-5 this year. Very, very tricky schedule for Marshall. After the FCS game against Norfolk State, they have 3 road games in a row. At Notre Dame, at Bowling Green, at Troy, and I do think they lose 2 of those 3. That's a rough start, but they're going to have some good wins mixed in there as well. It's going to be a good win against Louisiana. It's going to be a good win against Coastal Carolina, and it's going to be a good win against Appalachian State. They get a bunch of tough teams at home this year. I just don't like that road slate, and the big game that could go either way that could determine whether Marshall goes 7-5 or 8-4 is the road trip to Old Dominion. I have it as an upset. I have Old Dominion beating Marshall, but it could go either way. So if Marshall wins that, it would be 8-4. But I have them at 7-5. Anybody else that wants me to do a season prediction of your particular team, just let me know in the super chat. I'll put it up on the screen and we'll roll through it.
There's one game on there I think is a trap game though, and that's Appalachian because they're notoriously for upsetting people.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but the way it's labeled on the schedule is that's a home game and it's in between 2 road trips. If it was a home game after another home game, that's where I would label it as a trap game, or if it was a road trip. But it's one of those home games that's kind of sandwiched in between 2 road trips. And both of those road trips aren't that ridiculous. I do have Old Dominion upsetting them, but like I said, that could go either way. So I just like the placement of where Appalachian State is on Marshall's schedule. So I think they get the win over App State. And that's not saying that Appalachian State's not going to be very good. It's just where it falls on the schedule. And Marshall's going to be, not elite, but they're going to be a pretty good team. They're going to be, good enough to beat a good team if they're struggling or on the road, if that makes any sense. So Marshall, you're going to get to a bowl. I have you at 7-5 or 8-4. So is there any teams that pop out to you guys that maybe, I don't know, everybody's high on right now that you're like, I'm not so sure about that. I know they have this guy coming back, whatever. Maybe it's the schedule that makes you second guess them. But what team out there that's being hyped up or being talked about a lot saying, hey, look out for this team that you're not buying?
Tennessee,
I like it. Was not expecting that. What's the reason?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. And I just read it and I forgot the guy's name. They lost a running back already.
Yeah.
They did lose a running back. I think Tennessee is finally going to turn it around. I really do, but I don't think this is the year. I think Kentucky is a lot better than most people think. I think South Carolina is a lot better this year than most people think.
Oh, man, yes.
So, I mean, for Tennessee to win, I don't see them beating Bama. I don't see them beating Georgia. So now you're going to have to beat Kentucky. You're going to have to beat South Carolina. I don't think this is the year that Billy Napier turns Florida around, but I think Billy Napier will turn Florida around.
Yes,
and I think they'll be better this year, So, I mean, I think Tennessee's another year away.
Right. I would agree. I do like what Tennessee has coming back, especially Hendon Hooker. I actually think that quarterback is going to be a dark horse Heisman Trophy contender. I really do. I think he's going to have that good of a game. But alluding to what you were saying, so here's a list of their road trips. They have a road trip to Pitt, a road trip to LSU, a road trip to Georgia, a road trip to South Carolina, and a road trip to Vanderbilt. That's tough, right? I mean, Vanderbilt, not so much. That's a gimme. But, I mean, Pitt, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina. I do have Tennessee going on the road and beating Pitt because Pitt lost a lot in the offseason. A lot. But even getting past that, I mean, Death Valley, that's probably going to be a night game. Georgia, and South Carolina. That could be 3 losses right there. And then, of course, we're all counting Alabama on beating Tennessee. That's 8-4 right there, and that's if they don't slip up somewhere else. Vandy Dandy, thank you for the $1.99 donation. Says House of Vanderbilt. I do think Vanderbilt will be better this year, but you're still not getting to a bowl. Anthony Zappin, thank you for the $10 donation. Says good analysis on Marshall. Appreciate it. James Madison is FBS this year. Oh, I thought it was the next year. Okay, yeah, you're right. Since they joined the Sun Belt. Marshall joining the Sun Belt left them with a wacky schedule. Can you give me a schedule prediction for Minnesota? Yeah, let me get to that here in just a second. So we're wanting Minnesota. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody else. I did miss somebody. Hold on. John Waffle H2P, thank you for the $1.99 donation. Says we didn't lose any.
That's a bad one.
They didn't lose anything.
The entire
Wow.
I'm not
Number one receiver in the country, and you didn't lose anything? Come
I'm
on.
not even trash talking Pitt. I'm just saying you lost one of the best quarterbacks in the history of Pitt football and the best wide receiver in the nation. How can you say that with the straight face? I'm not saying you can't be confident in your team. Maybe I'm wrong about Pitt. Maybe I'm wrong about the prediction. But to say that you didn't lose anything, that's just flat out wrong. That's incorrect. I'm sorry. That is wrong. And you lost Whipple to Nebraska as well. So, I mean, maybe Pitt comes out of that fine and they have a decent season, maybe 9-3, 10-2, something like that. But you did lose a lot of production, especially on the offense. You're going to have a good defense, but I do think that the offense takes a significant step back this year. Anybody that hasn't hit the like button, please do so. That helps build the video. It's not a pat on good old Golden Blue News back. No, it helps the video hit the YouTube algorithm. And whenever that happens, the video gets suggested more and more people click on it and the audience gets bigger. That's how you do it. So those of you that have already hit the like button, appreciate you. Those of you that haven't, I would definitely appreciate it if you would do that. It helps a lot. And I know that comes off as me being, a typical West Virginia fan hating on Pitt because they're our rival, but I'm really not hating on Pitt when I say that because, I mean, pretty much everybody in the entire nation can see that Pitt did lose, 2 big ones. I mean, 2 big ones, Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison. That's a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and plus you have a new quarterback in learning the system, so you're gonna have step backs.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Anthony Zappin has a question for me real quick. Hold on. Man, supports the channel like crazy, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for the $10 donation. Says, go to Blue Dude. Are you going to the WVU Virginia Tech game? That's the one game I think I am, but I'm not sure. The 3 games that I'm 100% sure on is the Backyard Brawl, the game against Baylor in Morgantown, and the game against Oklahoma in Morgantown. I want to go to the Virginia Tech game. I haven't secured my tickets yet, but I'm working on it, so I'm hoping to. All right, anyways. Says, my dad and I were thinking about going to the Backyard Brawl, but who the hell wants to go to Pitt? I'm guessing that's what he was saying. We're going to the Virginia Tech game instead. I mean, I understand that, and I definitely want to go to the Virginia Tech game. What I will say about the Pitt game is there's going to be a lot more West Virginia fans at the Pitt game than there will be at the Virginia Tech game because Virginia Tech actually sells out their home tickets. Pitt doesn't. So you're going to see at least 25,000 West Virginia fans. I think it's going to be more like 35,000. So it's not going to be like a true road environment because there's going to be a lot of West Virginia fans. And if you go to the Backyard Brawl, I'm going to be there so we can hang out. So even if you don't watch the game or you don't want to do that, if you're not too far away, man, swing by and we'll talk and hang out for a little bit. Let's see. Jake Allison, thank you for the $1.99 donation. Says, in theory, what team could go to the SEC with Oklahoma State? The answer is, let's everybody say it together, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Now, the other option would be maybe a Baylor, but the only kickback with Baylor is they already have a Texas and Texas A&M out of the state of Texas. So SEC already has the state of Texas locked down. So and that's in all the conversations, to be honest with you, because I've told y'all, and we all know that the first 4 teams that they're looking at are teams out of the ACC: Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Virginia. But the next 4, 2 of those teams are West Virginia and Oklahoma State. They are paired up. So if the SEC does go back to the Big 12 to get 2 more teams, it will be West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Now, that's a big if. I don't know if they're actually going to do that. But if they do turn their attention to the Big 12, it's going to be West Virginia and Oklahoma State. There's a gnat flying around, and it's driving me crazy, guys. So if you see me swinging around like a wild man, that's what it is. Hold on real quick. Joshua Harrison, thank you for the $2 donation, says, Droop 75's Wolfpack sucks. Is that code for something? Droop? Does anybody know what that means? Droop 75's Wolfpack sucks. I mean, I get the last part. Wolfpack sucks. What's that first part?
Maybe he's trolling somebody in the chat.
I'm gonna have to. I need some context on that one. If it's funny, I want to actually laugh, but I don't exactly get it at the moment. Let me read it one more time. Droop 75's Wolfpack sucks.
Is Droop 75 somebody in the chat?
Yeah, he must be somebody.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, Droop 75 is in the chat, and he actually answered and said, Joshua Harrelson, October 1st, buddy. We have 2 fan bases going at it, and I'm guessing one of them's NC State and the other is, I don't know, anybody on NC State's schedule it could be. I'm not sure. What fan base are you representing, Joshua? That's the only thing that's missing out of this equation. Tim Prangley, thank you for the $20 donation, says, proud member of the Joey freaking Foster fan club. Yeah, by the way, quick update on Joey Foster. He is doing much, much, much better. They wanted to keep him in the hospital one more night, but he wasn't having any of that. He said he felt good enough to go home. They cleared him. They said he could go home if he wanted to. I talked to him on the phone, so, he's talking fine. Basically, the story that I got is he had a really bad coughing spell and lost his breath, fell over, kind of just like passed out and broke 2 spots in his back. No surgery, though, because he's had so many surgeries that he's pretty much got titanium for a backbone. So he said that they said it's just going to heal up. So he is home. He is healing. Joey, get better, buddy. We all got your back. And, of course, John Waffle, H2P, is going to respond to what I said earlier with a $1.99 donation. You're just a homer. You don't understand business.
That's laughable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the guy who says that Pitt is a blue blood.
Yeah, Pitt's a blue blood.
Yeah.
In football.
I'm sorry. They don't load up like Alabama does. They're not a blue blood.
And did I not say clearly that maybe I'm wrong? Hold on, Sir UGA. Maybe I'm wrong about Pitt, and they have enough talent to go 10-2 or something like that. That's besides the point. What you said earlier about Pitt not losing anybody, that's just incorrect. That's the part that I'm saying is false. I'm not saying that 100% Pitt's going to be bad or something like that. I think they are. But they do have enough coming back on the defense to where they could still be a good team. And it's not a horrible schedule. But if you get off to a rough start, it's going to be a long season. But Pitt did, in fact, lose Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison. I mean, those were some big names.
You can't just brush them off like they ain't big hurts to the team because they are.
Exactly. That's. Hold on,
is Neil Brown in the hot seat this year?
Is Neil Brown on the hot seat? Sort of. I would say if he don't go at least 7-5, then he's gone. So if you want to call that the hot seat, then I would say so. But the thing is, I think we will go. I think we will go at least 7-5. I think at minimum we go 8-4. I have us going 9-3 with the potential of going 10-2 if JT Daniels can stay healthy. That's a big if, though.
See, my question marks is with Texas. Texas, there's getting a lot of hype, but they have a new coach named Steve Sarkisian. What has he done as a coach? Nothing. Right. This is his first year coming in as a coach. So there's going to be a step back at Texas. I'm sorry.
You might be right about that, but they do
second.
have a lot of talent. I do think that Texas is going to be not 10-win season better, but maybe 7-5, 8-4, something like that.
I think they're going to go 5-7.
I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. Thank you, Wisconsin sports fan, for the $2 donation. Says Sorgi family is sending prayers to Joey and Yvette. Yes, and you know what? Whenever I talked to him earlier, you know what he told me? He's like, man, I feel truly loved because, so many people reached out to him. His wife, Yvette, watched my live show last night, and she heard all the good things that we were saying about Joey. So they're kind of blown away by all the support that everybody's getting, that's everybody sending his way. So I just thought I'd pass that along to everybody because he appreciates everybody.
Right. And Joey is such a great guy. I mean, who don't like Joey? I mean, and he has very good analysis on college football. He's very intelligent. So,
very. Like, sometimes more than me. Seriously, sometimes more than me.
I just have a lot of respect for Joey, and I really hope he gets well fast to where he can come back on. I can't wait to see him again.
Me too. I'm just glad he's because there for a minute, from what Yvette said, is he wasn't breathing for a little while. So I'm glad that, number one, he got his breath back. Number two, he's coherent, and number three, he's talking. So he is getting progressively better. So hopefully he comes out of this with no harm done, and he's the Joey that everybody knows.
Well, I'm gonna go out so you can bring Tim in and help you have a USC player in here.
All right, buddy.
Well,
Appreciate
not
you,
a
man.
player, but someone has no
Seems
problem.
like it, don't he? He seems like he's in the coach's room. That's how in the know he is with USC. Yeah, go ahead, Tim. If you want to jump in the show, always welcome. Thank you, Andre King, for the $5 donation. Appreciate your support. One of our all-time great supporters right there, Andre King. We appreciate you. So I'm just trying to hold on. I'm trying to go through the chat and figure out who the Joshua Harrison. Did anybody figure out who he was a fan of? Because I wasn't looking at the chat whenever
No, I didn't see him respond with an answer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make that super chat make a little more sense because I don't remember what. I mean, I remember what he said, but I don't know who he's a fan of. So it's somebody between NC State and whoever's on NC State's schedule. So I don't know. We'll see.
Now, I did want to ask you a question.
Yes.
James Madison is moving up this year. Why do you think teams would want to move up now with what's going on? Do you think they think it's a mistake? Because if the Big Ten and the SEC break off and do their own thing, where does that lead, James Madison coming up?
That I don't know. And it's funny that you said that because the biggest head scratcher to me was Liberty going to Conference USA. Like, that did not make any – why did they do that?
Right.
Does anybody know the answer to that? Because I have no the only thing that sort of kind of makes sense is maybe they knew that they could immediately come in and dominate and build their brand, but they're not going to make much money at all. They're not going to get much exposure for their brand. I think that was a horrible move by Liberty. I'm going to resend the StreamYard link, guys. It's coming right now.
I guess he's a fan of Clemson. That's who North Carolina State's playing on October 1st.
A quick shout out to Sir UGA or Sir Uga. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's 3 A's, so I'm going to say Sir Uga. How about that? For the $2 Cash App donation, appreciate you, buddy. Stephen E. Straight, thank you for the $10 donation. And these are my favorite super chats right here. Let's go Mountaineers. He donated $10 for me to say, let's go Mountaineers. Are you kidding me? That is freaking amazing. Awesome stuff. Thank you, buddy. What's y'all's thoughts on Georgia? That's one brand that I wanted to get to. Because, okay, we all know that Georgia fans are super high. And I guess it was me seeing Sir Uga's message that kind of subliminally made me say this.
It's probably Sir UGA.
Yeah, that's what it was. So Georgia coming off a national championship, they've been pretty good, past 3 or 4 years consecutively, but they did lose 3/4 of that historic offense or defense. That was amazing defense. The most points that anybody scored in the regular season was 17 points. And if you take out the Alabama game, they allowed, I think it was like 6 or 7 points per game. Counting the Alabama game, they allowed right around 10 points per game. And their schedule, I think, is a little bit tougher this year. And I think South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky are all going to be just a little bit better than what they were last year. I don't know about Florida. Florida's the big question. What's y'all's I definitely want to get your opinion, Jeff, because you're an Alabama fan. What's your opinion on Georgia? Do you think they can do what they did last year, or do you think they take a slight step back or a significant step back?
I think they're going to be Alabama last year. I think they're going to take the step back. I mean,
okay, let me ask you this. Do you remember what my prediction for Alabama was last year before the season? Do you remember?
You had us losing 1 game to A&M.
Right. And what did I say? I said Alabama is going to take a step back, but a step back for Alabama is not winning the national championship. I said There's a possibility. I predicted the A&M loss, did I not?
Yep.
I predicted that before the season started. I predicted the A&M loss. Now, I also had them losing the SEC championship game and missing the playoffs. I did miss that, but they got to the playoffs, got to the national championship, and lost to Georgia. So basically, that prediction was a wash. I mean, I was wrong, but I was also right at the same time. With Georgia, I think they're still going to win the East because I just don't think anybody's good enough to win enough games to pass Georgia. But I do think like a South Carolina or a Tennessee or a Kentucky will be good enough to upset them once, especially that South Carolina game. It's early in the season. It's on the road. South Carolina was top 10 in the transfer portal, and they're going to be coming off a loss on the road to Arkansas. That doesn't matter in South Carolina. They went 0-12 in 1999 and still sold out every home game. So that's going to be a raucous environment. The last time that I predicted South Carolina to upset Georgia was 2019. What happened, guys?
Yep, they got upset.
That's bullshit.
Go ahead.
What'd you predict Georgia go last year?
I had them going to the playoffs. I think I had them going to the national championship. Now, I did miss their loss, though. I had them losing to Clemson in the first game and then getting their revenge in the national championship and beating them. That's what I had. So my miss was what loss I predicted. They beat Clemson, but ended up losing to Alabama in the SEC championship. But everything else was basically right.
I think they're going to go undefeated on our side again, and I'm not just a homer. I've been to every big game against every big team that they've played the last 10 years.
That's fair.
I think if anything's a trap game, it'll be Mississippi State because we struggled with them last time we played them in Athens.
I'm hearing that a lot, yeah.
I don't think South Carolina is going to be a threat.
A lot of people are disagreeing with me on that one as well. And
yeah,
but I'm okay with that. That's a way out there. That's a way out there prediction right there. So I
think South Carolina is going to be much. I think South Carolina overachieved last year, and I think they'll be better this year. But I don't think they're going to beat us.
That's fair too. So if Georgia does beat South Carolina, you're confident in that. The thing that I'm looking at after that is down there at the end of the season. You play Tennessee, but that's a home game. Then the trap game that you mentioned at Mississippi State, and then you stay on the road at Kentucky. I think that's the 3-game stretch that could hurt Georgia the most because Kentucky's still going to be good, and this year that's going to be a road game. So you're more concerned with the road trip to Mississippi State than the road trip to Kentucky. So yeah, let's play devil's advocate and
Georgia's going undefeated this year.
Well, let's play devil's advocate real quick, right? And let's say that Mississippi State is that trap game and Georgia does stumble and they get upset. Can they rebound and beat Kentucky the next week on the road?
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's not my prediction. What I'm saying is, if that happens and Mississippi State does upset Georgia, can Georgia pick themselves up and beat Kentucky on the road the next week?
I don't think Georgia's losing 2 in a row. Period.
Okay.
You don't
I mean,
think
I think if anything, they get to the SEC championship with 1 loss at the most.
That's fair.
I mean, even if it's again, I mean, Mississippi State ain't gonna win their side or our side or any side, you know. So I mean,
let me ask you this: Do you think Georgia will have to rely more on their offense this year than their defense?
No, because I don't think their defense is going to take that much of a step back.
Okay, so last year y'all allowed, including the SEC championship, y'all allowed 10 points per game. But let's take that out because that was an anomaly. I don't like to look at that game at all. It looked like Georgia didn't even try. I'm just gonna be honest. It looked like Georgia wasn't trying.
I don't care if they allow 20 points a game this season.
So, well, hold on. So last year, taking that Alabama game out, they allowed around 6-7 points per game. I'm going to give you a 5-point gap between. How many points do you think they're going to allow this year?
I think they're going to allow at least 18 this year.
So, are you going? Let's see, 13-18 or 18-23?
No, I'm going 8-18.
So anywhere between 18-23. That's fair, and that's still a good defense. Now,
I don't think in most of the games this year they're going to give up 23 points a game. Period.
But the problem is, if you give up 23 points a game last year, you lost more games.
Yeah, but I think this year they're going to score more. But I think they're going to score more this year than they did last year.
Okay,
no,
that's what I was trying to get to right there. Yes,
and I'm okay with that.
Forward.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean last year if they gave up 23 most games, they'd have lost games?
No, I never said most games they would have lost. I said they would have lost more games. They
To
would
who?
have lost. Well, if you gave up 23 to the very first Clemson, you lost.
Well, I'm not counting Clemson.
I don't
was
have
just
your
a defensive
schedule.
battle.
No, but what I'm saying is your offense has to be better this year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
What I'm saying is
this
is why we love college football, people.
I think if Stetson had played the Clemson game from start to finish, we'd have beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Oh man, dude. Oh man. All right. Okay.
JT's a statue in the pocket. What's wrong with y'all?
All right. I see.
I got some interesting stuff here that I looked up today, and it kind of goes with that video that you put out earlier. Because for some reason, I was looking to see what the old Big 12 South looked like. Because at the end of yesterday's live show, y'all were talking about who could possibly go to the SEC from the Big 12. And I was looking at the old Big 12 South, and that had Texas A&M, Texas, Texas Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. Well, right now, half of that old division is already in the SEC, and we know that they were looking at West Virginia before they pulled Missouri in there.
Yep.
So I think if Virginia Tech tries to keep Virginia out of there, and if the Big Ten makes a play on Florida State and Miami, then I think you could get Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and West Virginia all to go with Clemson and North Carolina.
That would be a great conference. That would be a great conference right there.
GBD.
Go ahead.
So if Stetson played the whole game against Clemson, right, you don't think his legs would have had an influence on the game?
I think Georgia would have lost.
If Stetson played?
Yeah, because it was the first game of the year. It's early in the year. Now, Stetson got confidence throughout the year, and he realized – so you got to realize that was at the beginning of the year. Throughout the year, Stetson picked up that, oh, man, nobody's going to score on my defense. So he got relaxed. There was no stress on Stetson last year to win a game because the defense wasn't going to allow Georgia to lose a game. So if Stetson Bennett would have played the entire game against Clemson, I think Georgia loses.
You're
doesn't have that confidence.
You're delusional. If JT played against Bama in the SEC championship or in the national championship without his legs, we'd have been beat both games.
That's true.
Say that one more time.
Fair.
If JT had played in the SEC championship with our lack of receivers that we didn't have, and he'd have played in the national championship with pretty much a lack of receivers. I mean, Pickens came back as a starter who hadn't played in the whole year. We'd have been in trouble in both games. JT could not move out of the pocket against Clemson, period. He didn't even try. I think if the ukulele had moved a little bit more out of the pocket, and granted, Georgia had a great defense, but if the ukulele had moved a little bit more out of the pocket at the start of the season, they'd have beat us in that game.
Let me go back. I just realized what I said earlier. That was actually, to be honest with you, that was stupid what I just said. Because it doesn't matter what quarterback was back there against Clemson. Georgia was going to win no matter what because of the defense. So it doesn't matter if Stetson would have been back there or JT the whole game. It doesn't matter. Georgia was going to win that game no matter what. So that comment that I said earlier was actually pretty stupid because we watched the game. Georgia's defense won the game, literally.
I went to the game.
Okay.
It was a defensive
juggernaut. I'm agreeing with you.
But I think that if Bennett had been in, we'd have won a little bit more comfortably with his legs, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so at all?
No, I don't think so.
So you think Clemson's defense last year was better than Bama's?
Yeah.
They weren't. Statistically, they weren't for the whole season. Clemson's defense was not better than Bama's last season statistically. Bama had the second best defense in the nation behind us.
How many points per game? I thought they were number 6.
They weren't number 6. They were second.
Oh, I'm going to have to relook that up because I've been looking at the wrong number then. I thought they were number 6.
That's why they beat the hell out of us in the SEC championship.
No, and the reason why they beat the heck out of you in the SEC championship is because your defense didn't put any effort into it. I watched the game. Something was off. That defensive line didn't get any push whatsoever.
I was at the game. The defense didn't seem like they cared.
Exactly.
Which is sad. And I'll admit
to me, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, and I've gotten a lot of pushback for this, but it wouldn't surprise. I'm not going to say this is what happened. Here's how I'll phrase it. It wouldn't surprise me if a deal went down to where Georgia laid down and allowed Alabama to win to get them into the playoffs. I'm not saying that's what happened. I've said that in the past. I laid that to bed. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened.
No,
let me get this super chat.
I think the bigger deal is that Georgia's defense knew that even if they lost that game, they were still in.
Yeah, that's a fair point too.
So I don't think they felt like they had to win that game and expose themselves to get in. I think they knew they were in, win or lose.
And you guys didn't want to show everything.
We didn't show it hardly
fair,
anything. Too. We played totally different. I think I'll be honest with you. I think our defense was surprised at their strength.
Say that again.
I think our defense was surprised at their strength. I think we had the wrong strategy. I think we thought that our defense was so dominant that they wouldn't. That they wouldn't complete the things that they did, and they did on top of us. And I think we were shocked.
The thing that really, I don't know, made me baffled was that Alabama offensive line struggled against that Auburn defensive line, but then they come in there and manhandle Georgia's defensive line. Like that, man, I couldn't wrap my head around that. It didn't make any sense.
GBD, it's just like West Virginia playing Pitt, right? Uh-huh. They always get up better against us than they do anybody else.
I mean, that's true.
And it's been like that for years. I've gone to the SEC championships. I've gone to games at Bama. I've gone to games at Georgia against Bama, and they always get up. It's almost like they know each other is the big bully on the block, and whoever can slap each other first is who wins.
So why wouldn't Georgia get up for that game then?
Because I think Georgia still had a stump on their shoulder for not beating them for years in advance.
Well, Georgia was just overrated all year.
So you think
overrated? Are you kidding?
No, disagree with that.
You're a moron.
Hey, let me get to this donation real quick. Thank you, Judicial Protest, for the $5 donation. Says, Golden Blue Dude, what do you think about Nick Saban and Kirby Smart cheating with all the NIL deals for recruits? Well, my opinion on that is everybody does it. Everybody's cheating. So, I mean, there's really no reason to talk about it because everybody's doing it. It's just a matter of, can they prove it? Are they going to get caught? I don't. If they do get caught, are they going to do anything? I don't know. Everybody, and if everybody's doing it, is it actually cheating?
It's not going to matter because the biggest
recruits, I don't even know how to phrase it anymore.
It's not going to matter because the biggest schools are going to raise the most money to get the best players they can, just like they did during recruiting battles before. It's not going to change.
Exactly.
The whole difference is the NCAA can't do anything. The NCAA is a feckless, useless organization now. They're not going to do anything. They came out and said that we're not going to. I think Mark Rogers was talking about the fact they're not going to go back and punish people for things that happened in the past. It's just
the NCAA has lost control years ago.
They did lose control in 2010. I'll tell you that myself.
Oh, that was damn 22 years ago.
I even heard George Kliavkoff, the freaking Pac-12 commissioner, saying that everybody needs to split off from the NCAA. That was the Pac-12 commissioner saying that. It's one thing for the SEC and the Big Ten to say that. They're the big dogs. But now we have other commissioners saying, yep, we need to split off from the NCAA. They're useless.
These big-ass programs have been playing players for years, and the damn NCAA ain't done shit about it.
I'm a USC fan. I'm a USC fan. I'll tell you, they have.
It's like they pick and choose who they're going to hit.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad. I'm glad now we're in the Big Ten because now we're untouchable like the rest of Ohio State, Alabama. No one's going to come and jack us up and watch all the other teams, all the other 9 or 11 teams in the league just roll over, let us get sacrificed.
The NCAA has been marching down to Tuscaloosa every year and slapping Nick Saban on the wrist. My ass. It ain't gonna change.
Let me get to this donation real quick.
Alabama got hit.
Let me get to this donation, guys. Hold on. Thank you, Joshua Harrelson, for the $5 donation. Clemson's defense was on the field all game, every game last year. Yeah, that was a problem. Watch what happens this year. We are Marshall. You had to make me say that last part. I was with you in the beginning of that comment, but then you had to make me say we are Marshall.
Yeah, you want to be Marshall, you bunch of chumps.
Hey, back to Georgia, though. I think they're going to be okay on something about their offense. I mean, because you have an 11th year senior, right, at quarterback. And then Brock Bowers is back, correct? In the tight end, that dude?
Yeah.
Didn't he lead? Did he lead the team in receptions?
They're going to have a good offense.
Just like GB, I was surprised that GBD said that he's going to give up 5 more points this season other than 10.
Monken's going to figure it out. I mean, even they lost, who was it, Burton to Alabama. Monken will figure it out. It's not like they're
delusional.
They're going to score a lot of points.
Georgia rotated 5 stars from sophomore all the way to senior all season last season.
If Georgia wins the national championship, I will make a video on how delusional I am this year.
GBD, I'm not saying Georgia's going to repeat.
That's hard.
Alabama's going to embarrass everybody this year. So you guys will just look for second place.
How about if Georgia doesn't get to the playoffs, then I'll make a video that I was delusional.
No, I don't. I think that's crazy, dude. You got to admit the SEC East is a weak schedule for Georgia. Here, I'll make you a bet. If
make the conditions of how what needs to happen for me to make a video.
GBD, if Georgia makes the playoffs and wins the first playoff game, then you have to do a video about how much you love Georgia. What do you mean? You don't even think they're going to make the playoffs?
Okay, lay down the conditions again.
The conditions are Georgia makes it to the playoffs. Because I think if Georgia goes undefeated and then they lose in the SEC championship, what they would probably do to Bama, they still make it. Right?
So they make the playoffs. And
they make the playoffs with 1 loss in the SEC championship. And then if they win the first playoff game, then you got to do a video talking about
they win.
They win.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I was on the fence about making the playoffs. So get to the playoffs and win a game. You got yourself a bet.
Yeah.
Hey, and if he loses, he should have to wear a Georgia Tech jersey and sing the Georgia Tech fight song.
Oh.
I don't even know the Georgia Tech fight song.
No. No. Here's the counter
I
bet.
shouldn't have to do shit because my team's going to win.
Here's the counter bet. If Georgia makes the playoffs and wins that playoff game, I have to make a video saying how much I love Georgia, right?
Yep.
The counter bet would be if Georgia misses the playoffs, okay? So if Georgia makes the playoffs and loses that game, then this is a wash. Nobody owes anybody anything.
Okay.
The counter bet is if Georgia misses the playoffs straight up, I want you to come on to one of my live shows wearing a Georgia Tech hat. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you get spray painted on a hat. I don't care. Make it a GT, make it recognizable, wear it, and say, Golden Blue Dude was smarter than me, knew more than I did.
No, you're betting that South Carolina will beat Georgia and that's it. Even if South Carolina beats Georgia, they still make the playoffs because South Carolina ain't gonna win our side.
What?
That's not fair to the so if Georgia doesn't make the playoffs, I gotta wear a Georgia Tech hat and say you were right.
Right.
Let's say no, let's make it different.
And spread it on thick too. Spread it on thick.
No, but if Georgia loses to South Carolina, I'll come on with a South Carolina hat on and say you were right.
Now, that's fair too. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Because I think if Georgia loses to South Carolina, they don't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Well, if Georgia loses to South Carolina, I'll tell you right now, they aren't making the playoffs because they're not beating Alabama. So I don't know what that conversation would be like.
Well, if Georgia goes undefeated to the SEC championship, loses to Bama, they're in the playoffs, genius.
No, I just said to you, if you lose to South Carolina, genius, you're not undefeated, genius.
I just said that, idiot. I just said that if Georgia loses to South Carolina,
you need to open up your ears, pal, because I literally said if they lose to South Carolina, they're not making the playoffs because they're losing to Bama.
Were y'all agreeing with each other and just didn't realize it?
Jesus Christ.
No, he's an idiot. Georgia's not losing to South Carolina.
Clearly, I'm the one who's the idiot.
Hey, what about this prediction, guys?
Jesus.
Via the super chat. Thank you, Judicial Protest. $5 donation says, I think Michigan will go undefeated this year. I can't even hardly finish this now. I think Michigan will go undefeated this year. Jim Harbaugh is a much better coach than, oh my gosh.
Can you get some more SEC fans on this joke?
He's a much better coach than Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. No, I don't think they're going undefeated. And no, he's not a better coach than either one of them. Not even close. Next, Jake Allison, thank you for the $9.99 donation. I once stole a parking spot reserved for the FBI in Stillwater when our basketball team was under investigation. Hopefully, Oklahoma State fares better in the post-NCAA era, LOL. And that is a risk right there. I've never done that. I didn't even know there was a spot reserved for the FBI in Stillwater.
All right, GBD.
What year is he talking about? I'm sure I'm missing something with that. Did they get under investigation on their basketball team?
GBD.
Anybody?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look that up. What's up, buddy?
Back to our bet.
Okay.
All right, so Georgia goes undefeated on our side, makes the playoffs, and wins their first playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come on and do a video about how much you love Georgia.
Yes.
If Georgia loses to South Carolina, I have to come on and do a video about how much I love South Carolina.
And you got to throw me a bone.
I'll throw you a bone.
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
That sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Sound good to y'all? Sound good to me.
Sounds good to me, bro.
Another super chat from Judicial Protest, $5 donation. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, now he's going after Tim. USC is overrated. They're the first team with an openly gay quarterback and head coach in NCAA history.
Sounds like that dude's lost. What the hell is this guy talking about?
I don't even know what does one have to do with the other? And
it just says he has issues written all over that whole statement. That statement says more about him than USC. That's all.
Well, let me clarify one thing. We super chatted some stuff. It was like a week ago or something about this organization that I didn't know who it was at the time, and then when I looked it up, I was like, oh crap. So yeah, he's gotten way out there before.
Is he the guy that likes to drink?
I like to drink.
I think he's the guy who likes to drink, and as the night goes on, it gets wilder and wilder.
Yeah, the super chats get farther and farther out there. Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
Chris, did you read my super chat?
Which one?
The one about Liberty.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Hold on, let me look at that.
Who cares about Liberty?
Well, they're a big brand,
it's a donation. Right? I gotta read it.
All right, GBD, I'm out of here. Great show, buddy.
I appreciate you, man.
Take it easy.
After
You
you
as
do
well.
that super chat, I want to talk.
I think I did see it, but I forgot to put it on the screen for a second because they were rolling there for a second. Liberty. Scrolling, and it's. I wish you would have said something earlier because it would have been at the top, and I could have just brought it up, but it went away at the top, so now I got to scroll. I'm still looking. I know. There we go. Oh man, yeah. There you go. Liberty is a bigger brand than WU, man. That's just silly.
I see why you glazed
Yeah,
over.
Christian.
silly.
No, it really isn't when you look at the numbers because
No, it
Liberty
really is. Even when you do look
like
at the
Notre
numbers.
Dame, the Christians.
Do what?
No, Liberty is basically as Notre Dame is the Catholics, Liberty is the Christians, and BYU is the Mormons.
Except they don't have the fan base size, they don't have the revenue, they don't have the brand, the value, all that stuff. It's not even close.
They're not worth $1 billion.
They're worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
Liberty is in the Sun Belt.
Liberty's worth $1 billion.
Okay.
Where'd you get that information from?
Well, the campus, there's an Apple store there. There's, look it up.
I'm talking about the football program. Notre Dame's football program is worth like $900+ million. Just the football program.
The revenue.
Guys, this is like the rarest of the rare. We have two Pitt fans on at the same time. We have John Waffle and Talkus Pitt. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. Just relaxing.
Hey, listen. So earlier, John Waffle super chatted that Pitt didn't lose anybody.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
No.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
We didn't. Addison really wasn't doing anything. I mean, he didn't want to be here.
I mean, maybe towards the end of the season, yes, because he only had 2 touchdowns the last 4 games of the season, so maybe
Double teaming him.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
he won the award of the best wide receiver in the nation.
We have 90% of our roster coming back. We have our line coming back. We have our O line coming back. We have a good offense.
That's a different argument. That is a different argument.
That's a different argument, buddy. I mean, you can't just replace a caliber talent like Jordan Addison and expect everybody on our roster to do what he did. Because if that was the case, we would win the national title every single year.
Hold on. Even if you
guys
could
don't get my point.
Listen, even if you could replace them, that doesn't mean you didn't lose anybody. You still lost them. No matter what the argument is. No, even if Pitt doesn't take a step back, even if you replace them, even if you have the talent to replace them, and it's the same exact team, you can't go around it. You lost somebody. Like, they're gone.
Yeah.
They were here last year. They're not here this year. That is the definition of losing somebody.
I mean, it's not like he couldn't catch either. I mean, did you see the ridiculous catches? I have never even seen it. I never even seen Larry Fitzgerald make the catches he did.
He's going to maul some people in the NFL, guys.
I sure did, but he's going to go downhill at USC.
I don't know. I wish nothing but the best for him. I don't like how the situation happened. I hate it, but it is what it is, and we need to move on. We have plenty of wide receiver talent to not replace him, because that's just not going to happen. There's nobody good enough on our roster to replace him.
Soften the blow.
However, got to get good quarterback play.
All right. Well, see, that's the thing. We have to have or make sure Keaton Slovis has enough time in the pocket to deliver the ball to where it needs to go, which he still can do that. Our offensive line just needs to make sure they don't do what they did to Kenny Pickett last year, which is not what a lot of people are talking about. Is Kenny Pickett got sacked 34 times.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this time this won't happen because we have a better O-line.
We have the same O-line.
You got the same O-line you just got done saying. They're all back, you said.
Do I think they're going to be better? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Whole year together. they've been playing an extra year together now.
But we're not
It could be a lot
we're
better.
not a blue blood program. This isn't 1970. We're up and coming. That is as best and as honest as I can put it.
Hey guys, I got a quick question for y'all. How many drinks deep do y'all think judicial protest is going on right now?
I'm in 4.
Hey, listen, pour him another one so he can keep giving you money. You can say whatever he wants about USC. The guy's an idiot.
Well, I'm going to read what I can. I want to make sure that I don't say anything I'm not supposed to. All right, I'm going to read this slowly to make sure I don't.
Please keep those drunk donations coming.
Bear with me. USC is essentially a JUCO in terms of academics.
Clearly.
What?
Wow.
Lincoln Riley bases his recruiting on, quote, diversity and inclusion.
Sure, you want to read the last
who
sentence?
Will be his, skip over that, rather than actual football talent.
I don't understand that.
I don't know how to even respond to that.
You read it.
I'm buzzed right now, and I don't even understand that.
I agree with Tim, though.
I agree with it,
And
though.
let him pay more.
Just pour him another one and let him keep giving you money. I don't, let him do it.
Works for me.
So can I touch on something
dang,
here real quick?
Man. You're scaring me, man. You're scaring me. Hey, Tim, what's your take on Jordan Addison? We got the Pitt take on him. What's your take?
I really I went back and just watched some highlights of him. What do you mean as far as what? The transfer, his ability to play, what's he do this year or what?
His impact this year.
The crazy thing is there's gonna be it's a stacked offense. I mean, as far as receivers go, there's gonna be a lot of I don't know how many balls he's gonna catch because there's gonna be a lot of guys out there that are really good. Like the fact that people are talking about Addison, he's a stud. But I mean, Mario Williams will get his. A lot of people really don't know how good Gary Bryant Jr. is. We got Brendan Rice, the guy from the transfer from.
And that's why I'm a little mad he left.
Here's my point about Addison, right? He's not really he really can't improve his stock that much, but it could have dropped. I'm not the guy's clearly got enough film. He's clearly got enough film that he's gonna get drafted in the first round. But that first round money, if you get inside that top 10, as opposed to being, somewhere around 23, 24, that's what he probably worried about. I mean, I don't think the guy is, wanted to leave Pitt. I think if all things were perfect, Whipple stayed and, he has a quarterback that he feels confident in and offense. The big thing is Cignetti coming in, right? Isn't Cignetti a big run guy? Am I wrong? Does someone help me? I don't really know a lot about Cignetti, but what I'm hearing is he's run heavy.
He is and he isn't. He's more balanced with the run, 50-50 run and pass. But he was our offensive coordinator at Pitt before the last time we won 10 games in a season.
Hold on, guys. Quick shout out to Sir UGA again. Another $2 Cash App donation says, for UGA, curb stomped Michigan and Bama. That's a fact. That did happen. That did happen. Well said, sir. Well said. Thank you for the donation.
Yeah, no, I mean, winning. I hope he does well for you guys. I'm not saying one way or the other how well Cignetti's going to do, but again, people have to put themselves in the shoes of Addison and his family. And if he's my son, and I'm watching the so the quarterback out the door, Whipple's out the door to Nebraska, right? Even his receiver coach is gone. Do you know what I mean? His position coach is even gone.
Yeah.
Now, does he stay there with all the uncertainty? And I mean, I know he's our coach. Well, bear with me.
Yeah,
I know that he's a USC guy. He's a USC coach, but it's not like Riley isn't known for putting up offensive numbers in his passing game. And then you get to catch balls from Caleb Williams, right? And you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have Mario Williams on the other side. So you're not going to get many double teams. There's a lot of talent. There's one thing to be said about not having any talent, because then you get double team. You get bracketed the whole time. But who are they going to double team amongst all those receivers? That's only going to help him out. Now it's going to limit how many catches he gets in the long run, but I can still see him, getting 80 catches. Do you know what I mean? It's not, he doesn't have to put up over 100. He doesn't have to prove he can get 100 catches. They've seen it. All he has to do is maybe marginally improve his draft stock, but definitely not let his draft stock drop.
I want to ask you guys, what's his weakness? What does he need to work on the most? Is it route running? Is it speed? Is it hands?
Addison?
Is it jumping? Is it high pointing?
No, he's good. He should have went to the NFL already.
It just needs to stay healthy this year.
There's literally nothing Addison needs to work on absolutely ever. His speed is there. His high points there. His his intelligence is there. I mean,
get like 35 catches.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Tim, you have got the attention of judicial protest for sure. Another $10 donation says, can't wait for USC to get blown out by Northwestern and Rutgers when they join the Big Ten. USC should change their mascot from the Trojans to the You Can Read.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait for judicial protest to run out of money and have to go upstairs out of the basement and ask his mom for enough money so he can have car fare for the gas.
Hey, I'm in a basement.
I'm just saying. Well, are you asking your mom for lunch money? Because this dude will be, once he gets done, once he finishes his last $10 here, he's gonna be having to go ask his family for money for gas and for maybe a Subway sandwich to get him through the week.
Oh my gosh, Tim, man, you've got some hidden talents I didn't know about, buddy. That was grade A trash talk. Grade A.
You can keep them coming. That's all right. I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. We have no chance against Rutgers, man. I think we're gonna get smashed when we go in there. Yeah, those guys are awesome.
I know you're joking, Tim, but what if that actually happens?
Oh man. Ooh.
What if USC lost to Rutgers?
Yeah, and it was bad, like really bad, like Alabama losing to Northern Illinois in 2003 bad.
I'm sure it would be a bad day for Tim.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're not going to be coming off of like, well, no, I mean, it'll be a bad day. And football's football. You can lose you could literally lose to anybody. I mean, it has happened. I watched USC get at home, and my son asked me, Dad, is there any way we're going to lose? And we have a really lowly Stanford team coming into the Coliseum. He says, what are the chances we lose? I said, absolutely zero. And we lost that game.
Yeah.
Last second touchdown in the corner, and you lost. Your quarterback gets hurt. Weird things happen. Anything can happen in football. Do I think we're going to lose to Rutgers? I don't think we're going to run the Big Ten, but I certainly don't think that we're going to be in Rutgers' stratosphere. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to be that low.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Upsets happen all the time. So eventually, I mean, one year, maybe 2036, 2041, 2057. I don't know. Maybe that will happen. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 years or even the next decade. I mean, it could. But eventually, if we live long enough, we'll probably see something like that.
So my question is, if USC loses to Rutgers in the first couple of years, does Riley not get off the tarmac like Lane Kiffin?
Okay, so USC's not losing to Rutgers. If you guys can't hear the sarcasm in my voice, then maybe we should turn it up a little bit. Kiffin got on the tarmac not because of ASU or anyone. No. He was on the tarmac because of the NCAA. Losing Kiffin. If we had kept Kiffin instead of hiring the guys we hired after Kiffin, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in. I was a big Kiffin fan. What he did with that roster, they absolutely gutted the USC program. Nobody could fucking beat USC. Pardon my French. So they all went to Daddy and said, Daddy, can you guys take down USC? Because we're having a hard time here in the Big Ten beating them. Can you please call Daddy? Someone call Daddy and tell him to knock down USC because the SEC can't beat them and the Big Ten can't beat them. The only one that could beat them was Texas. So can we please get someone to help us? And that's what happened. And so after a couple of years of delusional USC fans expecting us to keep winning when the NCAA had those ridiculous sanctions against us, they fired Kiffin. That wasn't Kiffin's fault. He never had a chance.
What did the NCAA have against USC? Because, when you really think about it, it looks like they did have a grudge against them or something. I don't know.
The funniest thing is, if they came out in the end and said Bush's family was getting money. That was true. But there was never one bit of evidence that USC knew about it. You know what Paul D, the head of the infractions committee, said? They should have known. Yeah. If anyone wants to call me out on it, go look it up. They did not find a shred of evidence that USC knew about it.
There's always corruption going on there, man.
There was what?
There's always corruption going on in LA.
There's always corruption going on in LA. That sounds really informed, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
So only in LA there's corruption, right? So only USC was paid. So we were secretly paying. Well, everyone else is not paying players out there. There's a lot of corruption going on in LA. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Do you really believe that?
A little bit. I'm not saying it's all LA. I'm saying it's a bunch of programs that are doing that.
Do you remember? So they were there at USC for 5 years, right? Literally 5 years investigating for 5 years. Do you know what they actually found USC did?
they found several people were getting paid in the 2000s, and there was a lot of people involved, and there was a lot of fraudulent activity.
That sounds really generic. No, so can you give me some names of who did it? They said OJ Mayo, a basketball player, who by the way, the NCAA cleared to come to USC because there was a lot of speculation when he was coming to USC. They actually cleared him.
What state did OJ get recruited out of?
Several.
OJ Mayo rode a bicycle. I watched it. Dude had a bicycle he rode around school.
A bunch of elitist celebrities have been paying players.
Which one? Wait, hold on. Which ones? And who? Who'd they pay?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, hey, who did he pay? Who does Snoop pay?
I'm sorry.
Snoop Dogg hasn't paid no one.
I don't need to name names. George Lucas, all the.
I'm not going to blame you, dude. Listen, I'm not going to blame you. Let me respond. I'm not going to blame you for your saying, because believe me, I've heard the craziest shit on the internet of what actually USC did. If anybody out there really cares, because no one really does, they just want to say USC sucks because they cheated. That's cool. A lot of schools out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're always accused of cheating when you do or when you don't do it. You know, USC paid, there were boosters paying USC kids. I have no freaking doubt about that. Okay. But number one, so was everybody. If you're a program who's done, even if they don't do anything, you name anyone. The guys at Rutgers, there's kids getting paid at Rutgers. And does that make it right? Hell no. But don't start pointing fingers.
There's no people getting paid at Rutgers.
What's that?
Who's getting paid there?
Listen. My point that I said earlier is everybody's doing it. And the reason I made the comment of it looked like the NCAA had a grudge against USC is because of what I just said. Everybody in some form or fashion was doing that. But for whatever reason, they decided to target USC. That was my point behind those comments.
Yeah.
You could point at any university, make some random comment. It might be true. I don't know, because everybody is out there, under the table money, under the table gift, cars, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Some are better at covering it up than others, but it literally looked like the NCAA had a bull's eye on USC.
They clearly did.
Yeah, because they did it the most. They did it the most.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
What do you mean they did it the most?
No, they didn't do it the most.
That's hearsay. That is hearsay.
It's all in
I don't
LA.
think I have to prove they're innocent. You're asking me to prove they're innocent. And I'm not a delusional fan like some fan bases out there who think that their team doesn't pay their players. Absolutely. Boosters are giving bags out all the time, man.
I get a question.
Everybody else is too.
What pisses me off
for him is
let me finish what I'm saying really quick. Hold that question for me real quick. So what pisses me off is that there's an actual lack of knowledge out there on what actually happened. If you guys want to take 2 minutes,
man. I can send you the data.
Who has data?
I do.
Who's I don't know who that is. I can't. There's no names and stuff.
Waffle.
Okay, so Waffle, you can send me the data. Well, I'll just tell you what the NCAA Infractions Committee came out and said they did. And they literally came out saying that USC did not have enough compliance. Therefore, they should have known. Therefore, we're going to hit you with the hardest sanctions since SMU. Now, you don't have to like USC, right, to hear what I'm saying. USC, it was a complete hit job. They couldn't prove that USC knew shit. I agree with the NCAA on this. I think that USC should have had better compliance. I'll be the first one to say that. That was the first thing I said when that report came out. It's ridiculous they didn't have more. But to turn around and then just absolutely hamstring USC like they did, it wasn't that they found USC guilty, because I think there should have been some violations by USC. The issue I had is what they did afterwards. Period.
Yeah.
And anyone out there thinks that USC, like boosters, the Bush situation was never paid by a booster or anyone involved with USC. It was a marketing agent that wanted him to leave in his sophomore year. It started in his sophomore year so that he could represent Reggie Bush, and Reggie Bush reneged on it, whatever the situation was, and it got sour. It went to federal court, and that's when the NCAA jumped on it. So you guys gotta get the facts right.
And I wasn't saying that USC didn't commit any infractions. My point was everybody is committing infractions. It's just they zeroed in on USC. That was the point that I was trying to make. Joey's actually watching the live show, and he wanted me to remind everybody that today is August 1st. So that means every person that super chats will be entered to win some good prizes, guys. So the first one is this trail cam. I think it's valued at $150. So that's one of the prizes. The other prize, hold on, is digital infrared night vision and day binoculars. Man, I think this one's worth like $200. So basically, this was Traveling Fools. He's supporting the channel. He bought these prizes. So anybody that super chats is going to be entered into that. The more you super chat, the more you're going to be entered, and the higher your super chat, the better chance you have. So judicial protest, you're probably in the lead. You have a really good shot of winning that prize.
He's gonna need it. He's gonna need it because he's not gonna have any money left. Yeah,
just like the Crux in LA.
Binoculars and night vision goggles. USC cheated and bought every championship they won. Ooh, he's going. Oh, he's going hard.
Yeah, they did.
Glad most of them have been vacated by the NCAA. Now USC's best chance of winning of championship is their yeah. Okay.
So anyway.
Jake Allison, thank you for the $1.99 donation. Says Texas will drown in the SEC. Oh, our first trash talk on Texas, and I actually agree with that. At least for the beginning, maybe. Once they get used to it and the money flows in even more, they can kind of even out. But I think in the first 3 or 4 years, Texas will struggle. And we'll see firsthand this year, even though it's a home game, Alabama's going to absolutely mop the floor with Texas this year.
Now, I had a question for John. We're talking about NCAA cheating and how it's all LA.
Uh-huh.
John, do you know what state Tuscaloosa is in?
Alabama.
Okay. You do realize at about the same time that USC was under investigation, Alabama had a booster go to prison because he's paid $150,000 to a player.
Well, that was because the system.
I didn't know that.
At the time.
And because of that, we had to lose 21 games. We had to give up 21 wins.
Oof.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, I agree. That was terrible.
Okay, and John, have you heard of Nevin Shapiro in Miami? Did you ever read that crap, bro?
That's where I was going next, Tim.
Yeah. Or go ahead. Sorry, you probably do. But sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, but I'm saying, it happens everywhere.
I never heard of that one actually. Sorry.
But here's the thing, also.
USC got caught.
I want to point two things out though, and I think there's a huge difference. Now, everyone out there, what do you think's worse? Paying a kid to come to your school or paying a kid when he's at your school?
Paying a kid to come to your school.
To come to your school.
Yeah, that's they come to the school.
Because all kids are getting bags. You know what? Goddamn, I'm glad some of those kids got money because a lot of these kids have no freaking money. You know what I mean? So good for them getting money.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But when you're paying kids to come to your school, that is a whole different infraction. And so someone made a really good point. I've heard it before. They said in the chat, I'm trying to find it, the guy's name. But basically said USC got in trouble because they didn't comply or they didn't help out the investigation. They absolutely turned over everything, boxes, everything they asked for. What you're confused with is it got spread in the media was that USC wasn't cooperating. No, USC didn't agree with the infractions. The NCAA was telling them you did this, you did that, and they fought it. Unfortunately, and they're saying, they said basically said, go ahead and prove it. Here's our stuff, you prove it. The NCAA wanted USC to self-sanction and do all this stuff, and USC was saying, we didn't do anything wrong. So, again, if you know more about the situation, I understand. A lot of people didn't like USC. When you win a lot of games, a lot of people don't like Alabama right now. A lot of people didn't like Miami back in the day. When you win too much, people
still don't like Miami.
But the whole point is the fact that the NCAA really laid these penalties on USC that were actually egregious. They should not have been. USC should have been penalized. But what they did is, and it was very clear, that they spent 5 years trying to find these things. And when they couldn't find anything, they came out with this ridiculous finding. You can look it up if you want.
But I did see that Alabama had to give up all those
known.
games.
Even though they didn't know, they should have known. And then when you look at Cam Newton and the situation, how they bought a championship. I'm tired of hearing from fans that USC cheated more than everybody and etc.
Yeah. I would agree.
They literally paid the dude to come to their school and win a championship, man.
It looks like somebody's on your side, by the way.
And
Tim.
USC did it
Vanity
too.
Rose with the $5 donation says this protest guy is nuts with this USC trash talk And I'm a UCLA fan. Go Bruins. San Diego and Fresno State to the Pac, and everyone stay healthy and safe. I understand pushing the San Diego State and Fresno State. As long as they get 2 Power Fives with those 2 brands, yes, I would agree with that. Otherwise, you're going down the road that you don't need to go down.
I think San Diego State should just go to the MAC because that's just going to hurt the league even more.
To the MAC?
Yep.
I think that would hurt them.
Yeah,
Well,
that wouldn't even make
it
any
would
sense.
hurt them, but I mean, they're not going to bring anything in.
Well, why don't they go if the ACC implodes, which I don't think it will just yet? Why don't they just go to the ACC?
Yeah, Tony. We should get Tony in here. He actually do a better job explaining the whole USC thing. But I think
what about if you got, what if the Big 12 got, a couple of brands from the Pac-12, say Utah and Colorado, and then they brought in San Diego State and Fresno State? That would make more sense.
Here's what I'm trying to say.
Bringing those 2 to the Pac-12.
Here's what I'm trying to say. Those
opinion.
brands make up nothing. That's not going to save the Pac-12, the Big 12, the ACC. Those aren't going to help at all.
Tim, you definitely have his attention. Judicial protest, man. Another $5 donation says, Tim, I have plenty of cash money because I graduated from an actual college, not a JUCO.
See, I call bullshit.
Or UCLA. Oh,
yeah, I call bullshit.
UCLA in there too.
Did anyone notice? I think the wallet's getting a bit light. He went from 10 to 5. I think he had to go borrow $5 from his mom to do that last one. I think he's out of cash.
It looks like he also took a shot at Vanity Rose as well because he said he threw in UCLA.
Yeah, USC and UCLA are clearly some of the worst universities in the country. Clearly, year in, year out, they say that why get a degree from those places not worth the ink it's written on, right? So, I mean, clearly USC is and UCLA are very, very bad schools.
Hold on, guys. This was a great show. I loved it. Judicial protest, man, is pushing Tim's button. And, Tim, you're responding. I like it. But we're rolling up on 10 p.m. I got to wake up early. I'm going to try to do my live show a little bit earlier tomorrow. It was just how my schedule worked out because school starts tomorrow, so I have to wake up early and get the kids to school and all that stuff. So I'm going to end at 10 p.m. But like I do as usual, before we get out of here, I like to give everybody their last word. It can be about your team, about your conference, college football in general, whatever it may be, as long as it's college football. Last word. So, Talkus Pitt, you were the last one to get in, so you are the first one to get your last word in. Go ahead, buddy.
GBD, I really hope you are prepared to wear a Pitt shirt this year come September 1st when something happens that you don't want to happen, and I'm going to love it. And by the way,
I'm a man of my word. As long as you provide the jersey or shirt, whatever, and West Virginia loses, I will wear it and do the video. I will honor the bet.
I will be buying the tickets tomorrow. Okay. I don't know where you're sitting or where you plan on sitting, but I can only afford to get 2 tickets because the single game tickets don't go on sale until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
I already got my ticket, buddy. I'm in the end zone upper deck.
Okay, I'm probably gonna be somewhere near you, but I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know by tomorrow.
You got my information, man. We'll hook up.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good night, buddy.
You too.
From
one Pitt fan to another, John Waffle H2P, you get your last word in.
Okay, I just want to say I'm glad to be on. Pitt is going to destroy WVU, and make sure to check out my channel. I'm about to make a YouTube video about the corruption in LA and a bunch of corruption because there's a lot of corruption going on in college football right now. See you guys.
All right, buddy. Good job. I agree. There's a lot of corruption going on, but man, singling USC out. Tim, man, you got a bullseye. Speaking of Tim, hold on. Let me get this super chat off real quick. Or hold on, we'll go to a different format so they can see you nice and clear.
Hey, Chris.
There we go. I'm going to give Tim his last word real quick.
Oh, well, my last word is you're going to hear it first. So finally, Narduzzi's breaking moment of his evidence. He talked about how there was tampering going on with Jordan Addison's going to be broken on John's show. So this will be good. Everyone tune in. So I'm sure it's going to be a whopper. The guy shot his mouth off, explaining how there was all these allegations that there was tampering going on. But I mean, I'm cool with this. Listen, you guys, I'm happy people are trash talking USC. You know what? For the better part of the last 3-4 years, USC truly had become irrelevant. But one thing I like to remind my Bruin and Oklahoma fans and the Oregon Ducks and UCLA fans that always, trash talking on Twitter. When the pretty girl wanted a date, they didn't come calling, some of the schools that are complaining about USC. If USC is irrelevant, then how come the Big Ten pick them up?
Yep.
So
I would agree.
But I appreciate the banter back and forth. Even that one guy, he was kind of entertaining. But I'm glad that you made a nice little killing on that. And I'll see you later.
Hey Tim, I gotta say, man, you got game. I haven't heard you trash talk like that. That was actually pretty impressive.
That's because it's hot and my air conditioning's broken. I'm in a bad mood.
Oh, that makes sense. I got you. Yeah. That makes sense.
All right,
guys. Good job, buddy. Jeff Grimm, man, last word. This guy that popped in, you got Moss, like he was muted the entire time. I was going to give him his last word, but he never talked. So I don't know what his last word would be.
Well, I wanted to say one thing non-football wise, that I think you should send Tim either a hat or a shirt from all the money that he collected from you tonight.
That's
that was
fair.
Pretty awesome.
That's fair.
My last word is, I really do believe that Gonzaga to the Pac-12 would be a good move. I know a lot of people don't think it would, but I think it would, just for basketball.
Well, yeah.
But I truly don't believe the Pac-12, the Big 12, or the ACC is going to survive. They're going to have a team, but they're going to have to do their own playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
They're not going to make it.
It's just something that all of us might have to just live with. It's going to happen. Hopefully, your team gets in the Big Ten or the SEC, and if they don't, you're going to have a secondary national championship.
Yep, I agree. You have a great night.
You too, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
All right, bye.
Well done. Appreciate everybody that stopped by watching Golden Blue Dude. This channel has really, really grown, especially in the past month. So everybody that came and watched, everybody that super chatted, you guys are entered into the drawing for the goggles and the binoculars. I'm going to go back and write down each name and the amount that you super chatted. That way we make sure that the drawing is fair. Everybody that hit the like on the way out, even though this won't be live, the more likes it has, the more it will be suggested. So if you will, please on the way out, hit the like button. And guys, because of my schedule today, I had to go head to head against Lunch Money Show. We still pulled in over 100 watching, pretty much consistently. So I'm pretty proud of that. I did not go head to head against Lunch Money, aka Uncle Lou and Pigskin Pete, on purpose. It's just how it happened because of my schedule, and I think we held our own, guys. I think we held our own. So it's all because of you guys clicking on it. So I greatly appreciate it. One more donation. Thank you, Anthony Zappin, for the $5 donation. Says Golden Blue Dude or GBD has the best college football channel on YouTube. I'm working on it. I still have a lot of work to do. That's why, my main goal here at Golden Blue Dude is never be satisfied. There is always, always, always room for improvement. So as good as I did today, tomorrow's got to be just a little bit better. Don't know what time my live show is going to be tomorrow. So if you're a subscriber, make sure to hit the notification. That way you know when I go live, because I have no idea what my schedule is going to look like. All right, guys. If you're not a subscriber of Golden Blue Dude, hey, hit the subscribe button, see what we're all about. See if you like it or not, and hopefully you stick around and like the content. But time for this live show to end. We'll do another one tomorrow, and appreciate everybody. Y'all have a good night.